Hey, good evening. Welcome to Cause, Creating and Understanding Self-Empowerment. I got a guest, man. I'm telling you, he don't need no introduction. This I got with me again, and I just came in from work, right? And a few people asked me about when you gonna do some content. I said, well, I'm trying to space the people that I got on the roster, right? But because he was like one of my first guests, right? And everybody loves some of the things that he was talking about because he really educated people to business, right? Because he was a real businessman. I mean, this wasn't like some guys that, had a businesses and never pull up their sleeves to be involved in it. You know what I'm saying? Whereas he was about it. You know what I'm saying? So, without any further ado, what you got to say, Michael?
Oh man, thank you, Jess, for having me back on your show. I appreciate being here again. One of the things we're gonna talk about is just starting your own authority through the trucking industry. Most people that come to prison, first thing they say they want to get their CDL license and develop their own trucking company. So with that being said, we're gonna just touch on a few things you'll need while you're into that type of business. First, if you're gonna work for somebody like myself, I always say, well, if I can provide a check for someone, it's better than making a check. So because then you're making a little bit more than what you would be by working for someone. And only people that get rich are those that allow their money to work for them. So I invested my money in a setup, we call it heavy duty equipment, which would be the tractor, which has 10 tires, steering tires, and drive tires, the other 8 at the back. The other 8 tires is on the trailer. That's why they call it an 18-wheeler setup. So what you think, Jay?
No, I mean, you just educated me to that. I never knew why they call it 18 wheeler. So now I know, and now you know, and things. And, that's the big thing. Everybody talk about the LLC, and I'm going to tell you this here. The rules are changing by LLC. Started in the beginning of this year. That now there's like a policing agency involved with LLC if you trying to register it after 2024. And it's the BOI. So look that up, right? It's trying in some places it's being challenged in court, but you can get in a whole lot of trouble if you ain't doing your paperwork and you ain't got 20 employees as your LLC. But if you already in operation, they're giving you a year to get it together, right? Because if you don't, they're gonna fine you $500 a day, and I'm almost sure it's gonna be retroactive. So you better get educated to that. So sometimes people know one part of the business, right, and don't know the other part. And these days, yeah, because there's a mission to destroy capitalism, right? That hey, you really gotta do it the right way. So educate yourself on that.
That's the biggest thing with starting a business is knowing to be educated within that business because you can spend good money on top of bad. And what I mean by that is if I start a business and I don't know how to do something, that means I'm gonna have to pay someone for their knowledge. And that person's knowledge may not be on par to what I'm trying to accomplish in this world. Most people, I don't think about the monetary value of what I'm trying to make. I think about continuous success. Because as long as you have success, the money gonna follow. So if you set your goals on making $1,000,000, I'm pretty sure once you make that million, you're gonna get complacent. But if you set your goal on having success by obtaining $1,000,000, you're gonna exceed that $1,000,000 and draw upon that to make more money. And it ain't about the money, like I said, it's about continuous success.
And see, and that's the thing also about, a lot of times that, when we first get into money, I remember when I first got some money, it's been some years back, and I mean, it was like, it was a great deal of money, but I thought the law was going to call me and say, man, lend me some money because you got it all in your house, right? And then as time went on, it wasn't no money to me. And that particular money that I thought was a lot of money, now people start holding it for me. You see what I'm saying? But this is also the thing about starting your LLC, especially like when you're a person in the game. Sometimes, you could do wrong the wrong way and you could do wrong the right way, right? Meaning like sometimes we get in trouble that we want to start a business and all that, but it's more for our ego than it is for our pocket.
Right.
So we just like the image of it, right?
Right.
And sometimes you get in trouble. I remember when I stepped out on trying to opening a business and stuff like this here, right? And I thought I had went through criminal menopause because I had the money, you know. I said I'm finna get out the game. But what I didn't change, I didn't change my spending habits, right? So as a result of it, I'm trying to do something legitimate, but I'm study going into my money, and I got this big overhead and things, and as a result of it, I relapsed, you know, because I could not keep it going. Whereas someone who started a business the same way I did, was long on hope and short on cash, they put more into it, you know. Whereas with me, you know, I just thought I had enough money to do it, and I did, but at the same time, I didn't change the way that I was living. So that made me relapse back into the game.
And when you're starting a business, have a purpose. Your purpose is the mission of why you started that business. When I started the trucking company in Pelican Fly Transportation, I started it because I was sick of the game, but I also wanted to make the same amount of money that I was making within the game. So when I started that business, I was drawing upon about $4,000 to $6,000 a week. And once you go into, like Jesse was just talking about, you still having these same spending habits. It has to change because the money isn't as fast, you know. And the street money is totally opposite of the industry money, which would be business money. So you would want to get yourself a nice head start. And like how I look at life, if you don't have 6 months of your bills put to the side, you're broke. Stop stunting, stop going by Louis Vuitton, stop buying Gucci, you know, and set yourself up for the continuous success that we're speaking about on this podcast. Because most people want success, but they're not willing to put in the sacrifices that it'll take to obtain success. And one thing I done learned from being in the struggle so long, once you get out the struggle, it's smooth sailing. So once you get on the other side of just being in that rat race, your brain opening up into a lot of other opportunity that may be presented to you that you couldn't take while you was in the struggle. So just make sure when you starting your business, you have a purpose and you have a vision on how you're gonna obtain that purpose. And that's what we speaking about. Because as young black men, we trying to get our culture to get beyond, you know, that game talk. You know what I'm saying? As far as when you starting your business, it should be able to be something you can leave to your grandkids, your nieces, your nephews, your children, whoever it may be. It's a legacy start, you know, so that way you can pay that forward. You can't teach, who want to teach their kids how to sell dope, man?
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
And I tell people these days, it ain't really about game, it's really about aim, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these days, yeah, you gotta have a purpose. You know, a few times that I have used the example of like a bow and arrow, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes it gotta be retracted, right? Mm-hmm. For it to go further. But while it's being retracted, it's also getting a better aim. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes, even like in terms of working, you know, I mean, because I don't want people to understand when I say some things in my podcast about working for other people. Sometimes your plan's gonna only work when you work.
That's
you
right.
know, but you got to be able to know that you have an exit plan, that this is the thing that I got to do for now. And now I'm going to tell you when it is, if you seriously working on the now, you know, because you got to put in the preparation and things, and you got to burn that midnight oil, you know, whenever you have the time. You know, it's like right now I go on passes, right, and some things that I'm on, right, that my family and them starting to see that I'm embracing that with conviction, meaning I got my home chores that I do, but I'm gonna dedicate something to what I'm planning on doing later on, you know what I'm saying? And I love my job, you know, I love my job, you know what I'm saying? But I still got other things that I want to do, and I can do it running parallel with me working.
That's right. That's right. Because if you're not striving to have more than one thing going for yourself, you really striving for failure, because at the end of the day, we all know inflation has hit this country, and the average $100 isn't the average $100. I look at $100 maybe as a $10 bill these days. It may be more, but at the end of the day, it's not gonna go as further as it could have gone back in the past. You had $100 back in the past, you was balling.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Things was a lot cheaper. Icebergs cost you 75 cents now. It may be $1. I've been gone a few years.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So things has changed. They say a dozen of eggs is $6, $7. A gallon of milk is more expensive. Right now, I'm adjusting to how much the gas costs. You know, and in the trucking industry, we say fuel. Diesel is about $5 a gallon, and you got 100-gallon tanks. So 5 times 100 is 500. You got two tanks. That's $1,000 a fill up, and it's only gonna get you 5 miles a gallon. And the best of it may get you 7 miles per gallon.
Right. And so we really living in a time now where your income is your overhead. Sometimes, you know, at one time, you know, I'm not saying that we had a surplus, but we was able to save money. But now everything is going up, right? And we starting to feel it, you know. And you know, and I like to draw some, because I was talking to somebody about this just recently, right? And you know, and I gathered from information from other places that always makes sense, right? You know, someone's, you know, was talking about they make $60,000 a year, you know. I said, okay, $60,000 a year is good if you can't do no better.
Right.
But if you could do better and make way more than that, right? Well, $60,000 is not good money. You see what I'm saying? Because sometimes, you know, we understand this. An example that I think Jim Rome said, you know, how long do you stay in the 4th grade?
Sure.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I mean, there's a certain time that you stay in there, and then you got to move on. See, we understand that in school, moving on to another position, right? But sometimes we'll get stuck in one position because we're not planning a better life. And what happens is we'll waste our whole life while everybody else is profiting on what we're doing. Because it's like this, most of the jobs that we work on, right? I remember years ago, I used to work in a hotel, right? And I would say that the people that worked in room service made less money than us at the desk.
Yeah.
But then there was people that it was the front desk manager made more money than us.
Right.
Then the general manager. So it ain't like they didn't have the money, right? See, it's about moving up in positions, because if you don't, your income will be your overhead, and for sure that exists these days. You know why? Because a job will get you by, but a side hustle in the business will get you over. You know,
I like that.
Yeah, it'll get you over, you know. And sometimes you can stay on your job, right? You know, because I got a daughter and even my wife, they supplement their income doing other things when they get off from job, right? So sometimes, you know, that hustle, you know, add to the income that you already got, you know, and things. So we got to look into that, you know, that run some type of business parallel with your job, but also have an exit plan to get away from your job at some time in the future, because it's all about your life, you know, and it's all about enlarging your life and becoming something bigger. And someone said this here, and it makes a whole lot of sense. The journey to self-discovery is endless.
It is.
You know?
Like Michael Jackson always said, you got to look at the man in the mirror to make a change.
That's right. And I'd close with this. If I say I can do something and you say you can't, guess what? We both are past a lie detector.
Sure.
Because we both telling the truth. So on that, I leave you like I came. Enjoy your day.